Have you ever had the sinking feeling that your failures aren't really caused by what's happening around you, but by something operating silently within you? You didn't forget that deadline because you were so busy. You self-sabotaged. Again, you didn't miss that opportunity because you were unlucky. You hesitated. Again. And the worst part? You don't know why you keep doing this. You keep getting in your own way. And no amount of mindset quotes or productivity hacks seem to fix it. But what if I told you? Part of the answer might not lie in your mindset, but in something deeper. Something coded into you long before you made your first conscious decision. This is the Szondi Test, and it might be the quietest explanation for why so many never reach success, no matter how hard they try. Welcome to the quiet way. In the early 20th century, psychology was dominated by two names, Freud and Jung. But in the shadows of Europe, a far quieter man was doing something more dangerous, digging not just into the unconscious, but into the inherited unconscious. Leopold Szondi. While Freud mapped our desires and Jung explored our archetypes, Szondi asked a more uncomfortable question. What if who we are is deeply shaped by the people who came before us? And not just emotionally, but biologically? Szondi believed that our ancestors didn't just pass on hair color or jawlines. They passed on psychological tendencies, drives, impulses, not impulses we recognize, but unconscious forces silently steering the course of our lives, sometimes toward greatness, more often toward repetition and ruin. He called this the familial unconscious. And to explore it, he created one of the most haunting and fascinating tools in modern psychology, the Szondi Test. So what is the Szondi Test, really? It's not a questionnaire. There are no statements to agree or disagree with. Instead, you're shown 48 black and white photographs. Faces, real people, many of them once patients in psychiatric hospitals, captured in moments of despair, rage, delusion, or emptiness. You're asked to choose. Which of these faces attract you? Which ones repel you? Sounds simple, grotesque, even. But the genius lies here. You're not reacting randomly. You're reacting subconsciously. You don't know why that specific face disturbed you, or why that other one felt oddly familiar. But Szondi did. Each photo represents a psychological drive, a deeply embedded tendency inherited from generations past. When you choose a face, you reveal a drive within yourself, not one you consciously identify with, but one you're unconsciously drawn to, or actively resist. It's not about who you are. It's about who you might become, if your inner architecture remains unexamined. Szondi mapped out 4 key sets of human drives, each with 2 opposing expressions. Let's briefly look at them. 1. The sexual drive S. Not just about lust. This drive rules creativity, connection, and how we bond with others, or avoid them entirely. At one pole, you have seduction and hunger. At the other, withdrawal and coldness. Your relationship patterns aren't randomness. They're architecture. 2. The paroxysmal drive P. This governs your reactions under stress, how impulsive, explosive, or restrained you are. It's about anger, ambition, even epilepsy-like outbursts, or total emotional suppression. Ever wonder why you overreact in conflict? Or why you avoid conflict at all costs? 3. The schizoid drive SCH. This includes how you process reality. If this drive dominates, you might struggle with disconnection, isolation, or creating rigid internal worlds. It explains unconventional thinkers and those lost in their own minds. Useful for visionaries, dangerous for the ungrounded. 4. The depressive drive D. Yes, depression, but also conscience, guilt, responsibility. The D drive tells us, are you driven by a strong inner moral compass, or by self-loathing disguised as discipline? Too much of this drive can lead to burnout. Too little, and nothing makes sense. because nothing matters. So what does all this have to do with success? Everything. Because success isn't about how hard you work. It's about how much of that work is being unconsciously undone by the drives inside you, working against your intentions. Let's go practical. You keep struggling with procrastination. Might be a schizoid-heavy avoidance of reality. You sabotage relationships. Could be overactive P drive, too intense to sustain harmony. You feel imposter syndrome even at your best. Maybe your depressive drive whispers, "You don't deserve this." These aren't flaws. They're patterns, inherited ones. And once seen clearly, they can be redirected. But when ignored, they quietly sabotage your decisions, relationships, and progress. And the worst part is, you think it's your fault. It's not, but it is now your responsibility. Let me give you two real examples. There's a lawyer, sharp, motivated, but constantly anxious in court. The anxiety has no clear reason. After taking the Szondi test, she uncovers high depressive drive expression, a deep, unconscious fear of harming others. Her guilt isn't logical, it's inherited. Once seen, she doesn't suppress it. She works with it. She adjusts her professional focus, not criminal law, but mediation. Anxiety drops. Success spikes. Now an artist. Brilliant, but sabotaging every potential success. Why? Paroxysmal drive. Feels unworthy of peace. Seeks emotional chaos as a baseline. Only after doing the Szondi test does he see the truth. He doesn't resist success because he's lazy. He resists it because it threatens the emotional storm he's addicted to. With therapy, changes are made. His art, now sold in major galleries. Insight creates possibility. Let's be clear. The Szondi test is not a party trick. It's not BuzzFeed, and it's not mystical. It's deep, clinical, interpretive psychology, and must be handled responsibly. Without a trained interpreter, it can easily be misunderstood. Also, it doesn't predict your future. It reveals your unconscious drivers. That's it. What you do with these truths, that's on you. Some drives must be integrated, others just observed. Some will fade with awareness, others must be expressed wisely. But here's the good news. Once you see the deeper story, you're no longer acting blindly. You shift from being a puppet to being the puppeteer. Szondi forces us to ask brutal questions. Are the goals I'm chasing even mine? Am I creating or compulsively repeating a pattern I secretly inherited? Is my idea of success borrowed or born from clarity? This is the quiet revolution. It doesn't always begin with motivation. Sometimes it begins with grief. The grief of realizing how much of your life has been directed by drives you never chose. But after the grief comes power to rewrite, to redirect, to rebuild intentionally. Because success is not about striving blind. Success is a byproduct of alignment. Alignment with truth, inner truth. And nothing reveals that quite like the Szondi test. So today's challenge is not to hustle, not to work harder, but to ask yourself the question few ever dare to face. What part of me is unconsciously driving the wheel? And is it leading me toward success or quietly away from it? Find that driver, call it out, sit with it, and then take the wheel back. This is not about turning your life upside down. It's about tilting it 1 degree toward truth. 1 degree makes all the difference when you're heading far, and you are heading far. This is the quiet way. If this awakens something in you, subscribe. Share this with someone who's stuck but doesn't know why. And I'll see you in the next video. In silence, in strength.